Yo, what's happening? This is Apex, and you're now tuned into the Apex 3900 program, and I'm your host, Apex. And tonight, we're going to talk about weaponized image, right? How the black male image has been weaponized against him, and how the black male needs to weaponize his own image for his own benefit. Let's talk about the former, right? The former being our image has been co opted and weaponized against us. I spoke about this. Hold on, let me get comfortable real quick. I spoke about this in a previous video, live stream, I should say, that I just made earlier today called The Lexicon, and how other groups of people, just to give an example, I'm going to go down several examples, but excuse me, just to give an example, how other groups who are not the great American Negro, how they come over here, co-opt our image, and then portray a, how you say, perverted depiction of us. And then at first glance, because they might be first generation born or second generation born Jamaican or Panamanian or um, Ghanaian or I don't know, pick an African country. So just because they share a similar phenotype to us, and they have been born and raised over here, so they have picked up cultural affectations that we share. At first glance, people look at them and say, "That's just them niggas. That's just niggas being niggas," right? But if you look under the surface, you'll find out no, that's an immigrant, you know, or that's an agent provocateur. It's not lost on me. Now, this may sound conspiratorial, but it's not lost on me that some of these figures, especially the ones who are prominent in social media who have immigrant backgrounds, that they have been placed there to act in a certain debaucherous way to portray us as um, foundational blacks or the great American Negro in a bad light. And not only that, they've also been placed in areas of influence to propagate failed strategies, particularly to the women, to the black women. I spoke about this on my prior live stream. Yeah, and you know what? Because SWP, he does reviews, or he has done reviews on this particular panel, and I'm gonna need to do my research and actually pull this shit up and do some reviews on some of this shit so I can point it out in live time, because me just talking about it and it's not really doing it justice. You're gonna have to hear this shit and see this shit for yourself to really grasp what I'm talking about. This particular African chick, dark skin with a long yaki in her hair, and she had some bright yellow dress on, up there talking about, oh, I loves me a hood nigga. Now, granted, she's college educated, allegedly. She's college educated, singing the praises of a hood nigga or a degenerate, if you will. See that type of shit right there? No. Those type of failed strategies are deleterious to the great American Negro going forward. And that type of shit needs to be dealt with. You know, that right there is a classic case on how our image has been weaponized. And when I say our image, I'm not just talking about the black male. Even though my message is geared towards the so-called black man, I'm gonna throw you sisters. I'm gonna put you sisters. I'm gonna address some of y'all too. I'm gonna address some of y'all concerns too. You know what I'm saying? Because contrary to some of y'all's belief, I don't hate y'all, man. I don't. Just a quick aside, I have a daughter. I've been a father over the past 5, 6, 7 years, right? And I've learned more about you women in the past 5, 6, 7 years than I have all the years prior to that. Just having a daughter has taught me so much about the woman, the female psyche. And no disrespect, but there is little difference between the manner in which my daughter operates mentally and the average 20 something year old female. There's no difference. The only difference is the 20 something year olds is of sexual age, and her lexicon is vaster. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the reasoning, as far as the emotionality, is essentially the same. But anyway, like I was saying, and also when you have a particular strata. Oh, let me give you a prime example, a prime male example on how our image has been weaponized against us and how we are confederate in our own image being weaponized against us. Here in the military, right? Wherever you from, you're gonna work with people from all walks of life, really all around the country. You're gonna work, you're gonna have battle buddies that are from China. You're gonna have battle buddies that are from India, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Montana, Washington State, Maine, Florida, California, everywhere in between. And they all have a preconceived notion, a confirmed bias about you, black man. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do. Some of it, especially when you're talking about these white boys from like Wyoming or Montana or the Dakotas and shit, where there's little to no black people. There are some black people up there. Don't get it twisted. I was an over the road truck driver. I've seen this country. You know what I mean? There are black people in little small bumblefuck towns in the middle of uh, Montana, bro. Trust me. There's niggas in Utah. You know what I'm saying? There's niggas in Idaho. You know what I'm saying? For real. But but for the most part, those particular people who come from that geographical location don't have proximity to black people like that. So all they can go off of is what they see on TV or hearsay. You know what I mean? So basically, and sometimes we confirm some of those stereotypes. Stereotypes don't just exist in a vacuum. They exist for a reason, and the stereotype on us as far as soldiers in the army is that many of us are shit bags. Where we like to sham, and all we're concerned with is just taking our little check that we get twice a month and buying a fucking charger or a Hellcat or a Camaro or a Challenger or a Mustang. You know what I mean? You got private, you got PFCs and specialists living in the barracks, driving a 2020, you know, Dodge Charger or a fucking Ford Mustang, 2021 Ford Mustang. And they're out there in front of the barracks every Friday washing that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And the stereotype on us is that that's all we're concerned with. We're concerned with doing the least amount of work as possible, bedding down as many women as possible, and driving a fly ride and dressing fly. That is the stereotype on us. And unfortunately, we give credence to many of those stereotypes. And for you brothers who, like myself, want to change the image, want to change the stereotype, one of the things that you can do, far as from a social aspect, is shun those particular brothers. Socially, you let them know that their behavior, their conduct is not congruent with your shit. Can two walk together unless they be in agreement? No, sir. Not at all. You know. And I mean, hey, this goes for all peoples. You know, they're piece of shit white dudes. They're piece of shit Latinos. They're piece of shit Asian guys. They're, it doesn't matter if you blue, black, yellow, or green. You know what I mean? You have piece of shits in all ethnicities, all races, you know. And I myself, I've taken the time and I've really, me being at my first duty station going on a year now, I've really surveyed the landscape and made a conscious effort to choose my company wisely, you know, because hold on real quick. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, Proverbs 13, verse 20 says, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. You got to be very careful with whom you associate with. You know what I mean? And this goes for men and women, females, ladies. If there are a group of females who are, let's just be frank, whores, thizots, don't associate with them chicks. Do not associate with them chicks because if she's a thizot and you ripping and running with her, it's safe to assume that you're a thizot too. And don't sit up here and say, no, no, that's not true. That's just my girlfriend. We was friends in AIT and, we got to our first duty station and she just, turned into a barracks bunny, but she's still my homegirl. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. I don't care if you was I don't care if you went through basic training with this chick and y'all was in the same platoon in basic training, ended up going to the same AIT, was in the same class in AIT, and lucked up and wound up going to the same duty station. I don't give a fuck. Once she touched down, and you knew she was thotting back in basic training because she had her little battle boo back in basic training, sneaking off when we were going on ruck marches. We was in the field and shit. She would sneak off with her little battle boo and get fucked in the porta john and shit. Yes, that has happened. You know what I'm saying? Chicks in basic training getting back shots in the porta john, getting bent over the couch in the porta john after we done ruck marched 8 miles. Just oh my, just mm, mm, mm. Lord Jesus, take the wheel, take the wheel. But you knew she was a thizot back then. You know, you knew what it was back then. So you have to make a conscious effort now to protect your image. You know, likewise, you won't catch me chatting it up with uh with some derelict males. Not at all. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna peep. I'm gonna watch. Like when I moved into this particular barracks because I was in a different barracks before I got to this one. So when I moved to this new barracks, right, I made sure to survey the whole landscape. I walked through all the hallways to see, who was where. We have some pull-up bars on the outside just adjacent to the side of the building where my room is, right? I go out there and work out and do pull-ups on the pull-up bars and just watch people walking in and out the barracks to see who actually lived in my barracks. You know what I mean? And more importantly, who lived on my floor and on the side of the building where I reside, right? I'm doing reconnaissance, right? Then when I see these particular gentlemen, like it's some brothers who stay on my floor, on my side of the building, and these niggas are complete derelicts. They are the typical skirt chasing, unproductive, jive talking, dusty ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? Nothing personal, nothing against the brothers. I just gotta call a spade, right? I gotta call it like I see it. If I see it, I gotta call it. I'm like an umpire in the major leagues. If it's a strike, it's a strike. If it's a ball, it's a ball. You know, nothing personal. You feel me? But I make sure that when I'm walking through the barracks, I don't stop and chat them niggas up. If I pass by him and the brother hit me with the head nod, I hit him with the head nod. But I can deduce by his behavior that he has garnered a reputation for himself around the base as being a derelict, non-productive, skirt chasing, um, shitbag. And if I'm sitting up here at the barracks, just loafing around, posted up, and I'm talking to him, everybody that walks past him, and we're sitting up here having a long conversation and whatnot, just shooting the shit. It could be harmless. You know what I'm saying? We could be talking about football. You know what I mean? But a passerby who knows this gentleman's particular character or lack thereof is going to see me and associate my character with his character because he's saying that he's clearly associating with this gentleman. So he must be in accord with him. That's how you protect your image. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to say it again. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. I have a particular sergeant in my company. I'm not gonna say his name, not gonna say what his, you know, not gonna say too much about him. But I'll say this. He's a white guy, right? A typical Chad. You know what I mean? The stereotypical Chad that the fucking white Manispherians talk about, right? Now, if I were to be out at a club or a bar in, let's say, Honolulu somewhere, right? And I seen him in there, and he approached me like, "Hey, what's up, D'Souza? Hey, yeah, yeah, fancy seeing you here, guy. Yada 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 yada." Brother, I'm going to immediately tell, pick, pull my phone out of my pocket, put it to my ear, and say, "Hey, my bad, sir. I got this phone call. I got to take this," and walk off and get away from that gentleman post haste. Because if he's been in that bar philandering and carrying on, he has garnered a reputation with him for himself. And if the other chicks in that bar see me associating with him, then they're gonna associate his behavior with my behavior. They're gonna associate his character with my character. Now, this is going to be kind of extreme, but hear me out. Let's say this particular gentleman, now this is just speculative, but I want to put it in its proper perspective for you gentlemen. Let's say this particular gentleman is a sexual deviant, if you will. Let's say he engages in acts of date grape. You know what I'm saying? And he has, at this particular bar, let's say he has gotten he has, how you say, um, swindled a couple of females in that manner, if you get what I'm saying. But they're too afraid to come forward and talk about certain acts that he committed, right? But word gets around about him and his sexual proclivities, right? Now, if I'm in this bar and he has this damning reputation about himself. If the other females in that bar see me talking to him, they're gonna associate that I'm on that type of time. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said in a prior video, hold on real quick. Human beings think associatively, you know. That's why I'm in favor of the suits. I'm in favor of the suits. I'm not saying that brothers should wear a suit 24/7. Absolutely not. But you should have at least two suits. If you gotta wait until somebody important dies for you to go out and buy a suit, brother, you're doing it wrong. You need to have a funeral suit and you need to have a suit when you want to step out and look fly. You know what I mean? You need to have a black suit and let's say a gray or a navy blue suit or something of that sort if you want to step out and look fly. You know what I'm saying? Because this whole, and I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm getting on Angry Man because over the past few days, he has shown me some growth in the direction in which he's going. And I made a video just recently lauding his praises, saying that I was proud of him because of some of the changes that I've seen him make. We'll see if those changes are permanent or if it's just a one off. But anyway, the whole angry man approach, let me just wear hoodies and and tough denim and Timberlands and flat bills and shit. You know, I'm dressing like a 1997, early 2000 rapper. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Come on. That particular dress code has a certain connotation attached to it, whether you like it or not. Idealistically, we would do as Martin Luther King would say and judge each man by the content of his character and not the clothing on his back. I'm paraphrasing, but you get the point. But that's not the case. That's not the case. And like I said in my prior video that I made on my other channel a few days back, fellas, if you see a female, you know what? I don't even think I posted that video, but I'll go ahead and say that now. I'll go ahead and say it now. But fellas, if you see a female with some yoga pants on, long yaki in her motherfucking head, there's all type of colors, pink, orange, yellow, green, you know what I'm saying? With some long acrylic nails on and some fake ass eyelashes on, with a sleeve full of tattoos. What are you gonna assume? What are you gonna? Oh, she's a thizzite. She's one of those city girls. Period. Period. Pooh. Yeah, she's one of those. Even if she approaches you, or even if you guys get into a conversation and she is just as articulate and as intelligent and as demure as and graceful as she want to be, her image is the first thing that you're going to encounter. You know what I'm saying? It's not her intellect. You're not the first thing that you're going to encounter is not going to be the content of her character. It's going to be her image. It's going to be her image. And over the years, in the past, you know, certain strata of the American population made it out to where black men were these monsters, that we were just these degenerates, just based solely off of the fact that we had dark skin and nappy hair. You know what I mean? They weaponized the birth of a nation is a prime example of the weaponization of our image against us. You know what I'm saying? In other movies and other TV shows like The Cosby Show or Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and you know, also my favorite show growing up, Martin, was the weaponization of our image in our best interest. you know. And I think brothers need to be more mindful of what they present, you know, because when you step out, you can't just sit up here and say, "Well, I'm an individual. I can do what I want because I'm an individual." No, you can't do that, brother. You can't, because whether you like it or not, I don't give a fuck if you 3, 4, 5,000 miles away. If we are 3 or 4, 5,000 miles apart, you still represent me. And likewise, I represent you. So we got to make sure that our whole, how you say, moniker, if I'm even using that correctly, our whole moniker is resonating in people's minds nothing but positive things. You know what I'm saying? Idealistically, I would like for the black male image to be that of industriousness, being intrepid, being highly intelligent. I mean, hell, we already got the athletic prowess on lock. You know what I'm saying? You know, our sexual prowess, our social prowess, our industrial prowess, our intellect. These are all attributes that need to be attached to the black male image. We can't do that if we are still promoting the losers, aka the pookies, who are antithetical to that. The loser mentality, or the aka the pookie mentality, is anti, well, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's anti-industrious, anti-intrepid, anti-intellectual. And I mean, yeah, it might bode well for a certain strata of female to put on this thug type of jacket, if you will, to play that character. But Red Supreme said something in a live stream earlier today that really stuck out to me. He said peasant women look for peasant men to get their rocks off with. You know what I'm saying? And I'm paraphrasing him, but I'm just gonna reword it just a tad. And he said, but noble women, women of the nobility, look for men of the nobility to attach themselves to. And just a quick aside, not to put myself in a nobility of some sort, but I think that's where I ran afoul with my baby mother. She's straight out the hood. She a block representing hood rat. She had a completely different orientation on life than I had, and I allowed her to attach herself to me. Now, for the next 14, 15, 16 years, I have to deal with this, you know, somewhat insufferable hood rat female. You know what I'm saying? And that is detrimental to my image because now, you know, if we're at the same place as it pertains to my daughter, let's say my daughter has a recital, or, let's say my daughter gets to high school and she's playing volleyball and shit, and we're both at the volleyball game and shit. And some other parents say, "Oh, that's your mother and that's your father." They're gonna associate her behavior with me, and vice versa. If she was smart, she'd keep her mouth shut so that they can associate my behavior with her. You know what I'm saying? You see how that works? You see the symbiotic relationship that people within a particular ethnic group have with each other as it pertains to image, you know? But getting back to what Red Supreme said, brothers, once again, I'm gonna repeat what he said, but I'm remixing it a little bit because I like the nobility. Peasant women look for peasant males to get their sexual thrills with, and women of the nobility look for men of the nobility to attach themselves to. Also, if you get your image up and you carry yourself a certain way, you dress a certain way, you're going to automatically filter out 90% of the derelict females. Because one thing about the female counterpart to Pookie, aka losers, is that they're losers too. And one thing about losers is that they don't want to work hard. They want everything to be easy. They want government handouts. They want dick and attention for free without them having to work for it. All they got to do is just take a video of them twerking and putting it up on Instagram instantly. Dick and attention. They don't want to work for it. But if you carry yourself in a certain manner, if you carry yourself as if you have an air of intrepidness, industriousness, and intelligence, bars, bars, by the way, they're gonna take a look at you and say, "Man, look, that nigga, he's gonna require too much of me." You know what I'm saying? And I've went through that here in these barracks because there's some females on this floor, and when I first moved in, they kept doing little flybys by my room. They'd be outside of my room talking loud and shit, trying to get my attention and shit. But then as the weeks went by and as the months went by and they seen how I was moving, they was like, "Oh, this nigga he ain't one of them. He ain't one of these, swagnificent, you know, skirt chasing ass Negroes that we're used to dealing with. You know, if we got to deal with him, we got to be on our shit." You know what I'm saying? So a female knows for the most part, for the image that I've crafted for myself and, on this base, when she come to me, she got to come correct. She got to be on her shit. You know what I mean? She's going to be required. There's going to be an expected required level of productivity out of her from a female aspect. If I'm going to be expected and required to produce as a male, she's going to have to produce as a female. Now that those are two, those two, they're not the same. They're the yin and the yang, but they're not the same. You get what I'm saying? My level of productivity is different from her level of productivity, but she will be required to produce nonetheless, just like I'm required to produce. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, brothers, I think that's all I got for that one. You know, thick gizzle, man. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Oh, yeah, I have my email in the description and my Cash App, if you brothers are so generous to donate, in the description of this live stream. And if you have any stories, any topics, or anything, feel free to email me. But yeah, man, that's all I got on that one, man. Thick gizzle, man. Get up on that.